What it do, YouTube, and welcome back into the Hollywood Rip studio for this week's episode of the Cardboard Critics Sports Card Podcast, where we talk all about what cards have investment potential coming up and which cards possibly might be the time to sell on. Thanks for joining us. As always, I'm Mr. Hollywood, joined by the Joe Bro. It's Joe Nasty to my right.
What's up?
And remember, the views expressed in this show are solely our opinions and do not constitute investment advice. Please consult a professional advisor for any investment decisions.
Right.
But let's do what base jumpers do and jump right in to this week's episode. I know it's probably weird that I'm wearing a Dodgers hat and a Cleveland Guardians jersey.
Yeah.
But as my colleague pointed out before we started, it is obviously because L.A.
Yeah.
L.A.
Yeah. I came up with it, even though I think it's a reach.
Right? I'm notorious for mismatching. Investment card number 1 and number 2. Screw it. Let's throw both of them in here and just make this episode shorter. But card number 1 is Franz Wagner.
Franz.
And we've talked about Franz Wagner. We talked about him 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. No, a month ago.
Who knows?
No, 3 weeks ago. His 2021 Prism Silver in a PSA 10 is up 30.2% over the past 2 weeks to $140 per card. Surprise.
Hello.
We told you guys to buy this card 3 weeks ago at $100. But we're doing it again. And here's why. 23.2 points, 5.6 rebounds, and 5.4 assists per game on 47.2% shooting and 35% from downtown. But in November, he was averaging 25.4, 6.2, 6.3, 46% from the field, 33% for downtown. He has 5 30-point games in his last 7 starts.
Wow.
Now, of course, a lot of this is riding the coattails of Paolo Banchero having a torn oblique and being out for a few more weeks, probably. But Franz Wagner can clearly handle being the guy.
Yeah.
And the Magic are 11-7 without their best player. They're young.
Or are they without their best player?
They're young. They have a boatload of talent. And someone spelled that wrong on the teleprompter. His name isn't Wanger, it's Wagner. I spelled that wrong.
What's on your mind? No, that's a Freudian slip.
Just carried them to a big win in LA over the Lakers and LeBron. It was the Lakers' first loss at home, and Franz hit a crazy 3 in someone's face to take the lead late. But look, Franz is efficient. He fills up the stat line. He's big. He's 6'10". Mm-hmm. He has range. He has dynamic young talent around him. I think he's still a buy at $140. Mm-hmm. I told you we would combine a couple people, and I'm going to combine Franz Wagner with Paolo Banchero.
Easy synergy.
Great synergy right now going on. Of course, he is their power forward for the Orlando Magic. His 2022 Prism Silver PSA 10 is down 9.2% over the past 2 weeks to $345 per card. So $345 for Paolo, $140 for Franz. Of course, we said Paolo is recovering from a torn oblique. That's a tough injury. It is a tough injury. So we
ruined Albert Pujols.
Yeah, and so we don't know really exactly how long he's going to be out for. But the Magic are showing that they are for real, even without Paolo Banchero. Now take this with a grain of salt because it was only 5 games.
Yeah.
Paolo only played 5 games this year, but in those 5 games, he averaged 29 points a game, 8.8 rebounds, 5.6 assists on 49.5% shooting. Again, I know it was only 5 games, but this dude is a beast. Those are major improvements in scoring as well as hitting the glass this year. He is up over 2 rebounds a game. He is up over, six points a game, maybe more. Pair him with Franz, because keep in mind, Paolo's cards are going down 10% right now. And if he's out for, say, another few weeks or another month or whatever it ends up being, if they come down another 5%, 10%, you put Paolo and Franz on the court together in the East.
Yeah.
look out. Magic are a team to look out for. They're a team to invest in. Paolo and Franz, like peas in a pod. I won't lie to you guys. I am literally bidding on these two cards right now as we speak. And I can already tell you that Franz, since the numbers we showed you earlier came out at $140 per card, that Franz card has already cleared 150. Wow. So, but I'm telling you, I really think the Magic are a team to watch. And these two players in particular are two players to watch. So in terms of invest, I am buying Franz Wagner. I am buying Paolo Banchero as a package deal. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would buy one of them if I had to. But I am buying on the Orlando Magic and those two players. What you doing?
You're truly putting your money where your mouth is, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah, you are. So
I am. I'm telling you guys, we're not always right. Okay, I like
just usually.
I like to say that we are right probably like 65 to 70% of the time.
I was gonna say like 60 to 65.
It's like 60 to, we'll call it 60 to 70. We are right 60 to 70% of the time. And this is one of the ones that we are right on.
For sure. Oh, 100%. I'm in for both. I believe in Magic as a team and as a duo, even if one's not in. Look, Franz hit the game winner over the Lakers, like you said, to give them their first home loss. Banchero, you want to talk about typos? My computer, as I typed in Banchero, switched it to Ranchero is legit.
Same thing.
Paulo Ranchero is legit.
That one reporter at the F1 race didn't even know who he was.
Yeah, he thought it was Mahomes. No, my name's Paulo.
What's your name? Paulo.
Thought you were someone else.
Paolo Banchero.
Okay, I thought you were Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, and then he was just like, I don't want to talk to him anymore. Dude's probably gonna win an MVP at some point.
I love Crofty. But you said, yes, take it for a grain of salt for Banchero. It's only 5 games. He's coming off a Rookie of the Year campaign where he looked truly like one of the best up-and-coming players last year. Really enjoyed. I don't enjoy much about Duke basketball, but I liked watching him play. You have to appreciate talent when you see it.
Yeah.
He was smooth. He was relatively a finished product already for a college player.
Yep.
And he's only getting better. Yes, the injury sucks, but this is when you get in, right? That's kind of what we're doing here. You rattled off the numbers for Wagner since Banchero's gone down, and to me, that's really impressive. I know a lot of times I kind of look for things that are not necessarily black and white, X's and O's, and for a guy to step in. So we talked about him with Banchero playing.
Yeah.
He was putting up numbers. We're should we focus on Wagner? It's yeah, we like what's happening here. But for him to step into that void as a younger player, I think is really impressive.
I do. Yeah, I do too.
So yeah, I'm in for these two peas in the pod, Franz and Paolo, straight out of the EU. I think it's really special.
Yeah.
What's happening down there at Epcot.
I mean, when I think of cards to invest in, and one of the things I really think of, especially with basketball, because there's a lot of measurables, right, with stats in basketball.
Yeah, there are.
You can measure a whole lot of stuff in basketball stats that aren't necessarily measurable in other sports. What impresses me about Franz, as opposed to someone like we talked about Darius Garland earlier this week, and no disrespect to Darius Garland, he's a point guard. I don't expect him to get 9 rebounds a game, but Franz Wagner, and even Paolo for that matter, they fill up the stat line. When you fill up the stat line, you make the team better.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between being a guy that's going to go out and score 30 a game, but then have 2 assists and 3 rebounds.
We were just talking about someone like that the other week, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of guys like that.
Yeah, that's an archetype.
There's a lot of guys like that, right? Yeah. They're good shooters. They put the ball in the hole, but do they make the team better? Yes, they can score. That helps the team. Maybe they increase the range. This and that, but.
A J.R. Smith.
Yeah, someone like that, right? Just a bona fide scorer, right? Mm-hmm. But Franz and Paolo affect the entire team. They put up stats across the entire team. They share the ball. I really think these two players are slept on.
You're smitten.
I love the Magic. I think they're a great up and coming team. I think it's a Grand Slam investment. You know what I don't think is a Grand Slam investment.
What's that?
Anymore, and I think you should sell on, if you have it, Bo Nix, the quarterback of the Denver Broncos, his 2024 Donruss downtown in raw condition was up 60.2% to 1,000.
What's his downtown look like? Flat
Yeah, look it up.
I will.
$1,030 for his downtown over the past week. That was a $600 card last week. $600 last week, over $1,000 this week. What has he done in 2024?
That's so bad.
He has thrown for 2,275 yards, 14 touchdowns, 6 interceptions for a quarterback rating of 89.3. The Broncos are 6 and 5. In a tough AFC West.
Yeah.
Behind the Chiefs and the Chargers. They do have a friendly schedule.
7-5 now.
They beat the Raiders today. They are 7-5. They do have a friendly schedule coming up. They beat the Raiders. They beat the Raiders this week. They play the Browns and the Colts coming up. Those should be wins for them, which is crazy to say that the Broncos are probably going to be 9-5.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But they finish with the Chargers, at the Bengals, and then they host the Chiefs. Those are like 3 guaranteed losses for Bo Nix, in my opinion. I just can't fathom this card being much more than it is now, even if they win the next 2 weeks to go to 9-5. The only way is if they win the next 2 weeks to go to 9-5, and then they beat the Chargers and the Bengals, or they go and they win 2 of the 3 against the Chargers, the Bengals, and the Chiefs.
Chiefs could be resting though.
Chiefs could be resting. You never know. Right. Although as of right now, they will not be resting.
Right.
Because they are in a barn burner of a battle
Yeah.
for the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Could be.
But do you know what the Broncos' record is against current playoff teams?
I don't, but I assume it's not great.
Well, it's also right there. But
I'm playing stupid.
they haven't won a single game.
Right.
They are 0 for 4 against playoff teams. Now, remember, they're 7-5 overall. Their wins this year, get ready for this. Their wins have come 2 wins over the Raiders.
Right.
Yikes. They beat the Panthers. Yikes. They beat the Saints. Yikes. They beat the Falcons. Yikes. And I get the Falcons are over 500, but the Falcons have the easiest schedule in the NFL, and it's the easiest schedule that football's had in the last 20 years. So with all due respect, the Falcons are not good. They beat the Jets.
Yuck.
Yikes. And they beat the Bucks.
Decent.
The Bucks is like their only decent win, right?
Yeah.
Like that's 7 wins, 6 of them I could care less about.
It's no murderer's row.
I could care less about. So I'm sorry, but the Broncos' schedule has been an absolute cakewalk. The only schedule that's been easier is the Falcons. Mm-hmm. And for that reason, at $1,000, that's 4 figures. That's 10 Benjamins. 10 Benjamins, guys. I can't tell you how out I am on Bo Nix.
Yeah.
There is too little talent around Bo Nix for him to rely on when the games really count. This team goes to the playoffs and plays the Chiefs on the road. Screw it. Let's not even say it's the Chiefs. They go and play anyone on the road, right? They play anyone at home.
Yeah.
Right? You're telling me that you're going to trust that Bo Nix and Javonte Williams and like a 80-year-old Cortland Sutton with a walking stick and a handicap placard.
Is he considered an old vet now?
I think so, yeah. You're going to tell me that is an offense that you're scared of?
No.
No. So I think it's a yikes if you're buying Bo Nix cards right now. I really do. Then again, we said don't buy Bo Nix. We said don't buy this card particularly when it was $400. Now it's $1,000. So it is what it is. We were wrong at the beginning, but I will hold.
We're holding the fort.
I will hold my ground. We will hold our ground on this one and say, sell Bo Nix now.
I'm a no on Bo. Still no on Bo. I think
that was very anticlimactic.
Well, I mean, did you want to be like, actually? No, but like to me, whenever I've watched him, nothing's really jumped off the page.
No.
I think he dinks and dunks. Like his rating is an 89.9. So for someone who has as many yards as he does, like I feel like it should be higher than that. It's good. He's efficient. He's doing the job. But
He's not turning it over.
he's not turning it. Well, 16-6. So it's like nothing's really 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
Pretty good.
It's good, but it's not insane to me.
No.
Yeah, the reasons you said. I'm not really feeling Bo Nix. I don't. They're a good middle of the road team. He's doing well. To me, the most interesting thing about him is, did you know the hometown he's from is called Arkadelphia?
Arkadelphia?
Yeah, how cool is that?
How do you
Arkadelphia,
pronounce-
Arkansas.
How do you even pronounce that?
Also, and I looked up the downtown card.
It's awful.
You think of like the go-to skylines in America. You think Chicago. You think New York. That's kind of it, actually. San Francisco with like the golden. I don't think of Denver. And right here, Denver's skyline is prominently featured.
That proves your point. It looks like a white office building, an orange office building.
And I didn't know it was possible to make the Rocky Mountains look like not imposing, but they figured it out.
Yeah.
So.
They like squashed it into. It looks like a snowball
It looks like
in the back, a snow globe.
it looks like the posters of like glaciers with like, this is what you see, what a person's dealing with, and this is what a person's actually dealing with.
Yeah.
It looks like
the
glacier.
iceberg under the surface of the ocean.
This is everything that's happening with a person under the surface. So take it easy on us. All those of you in the comment section, you don't know what we're dealing with underneath the water.
Yeah, you don't. You never know. Let's move to, we do have a fourth card, and it's an invest card. It's a card that I am buying, and that is Jared Goff, quarterback for the Detroit Lions. His 2016 Prism Silver in a PSA 10 is down 8.7% over the past month. It is $247 per card. Guys, I am also currently in bidding for one of these. Keep in mind, this was a $200 card at the start of the season. It is now $247, so it is up overall. But the Lions are pulverizing everyone.
Yeah.
And they are clearly the best team in the NFC.
You don't think the NFL?
They look like the best team in the NFL, but...
If they played the Bills tomorrow, who would you pick?
Ooh, where?
Well, it's in my notes, but they only play in good situations right now. So it'd be in a dome.
It would be neutral. The only way they can play is neutral.
Right.
Right? In a neutral dome, I'm probably taking the Lions. Neutral outdoors,
Yeah. Orchard Park, I'm taking the Bills.
I'd probably take the Bills.
Yeah.
But Jared Goff, 2024, 2,492 yards, 20 touchdowns, 9 interceptions for a rating of 112.1. Those numbers are not updated with today's numbers. They are now 10-1.
Wow.
They have a plus 177 point spread, which is nuts. And they're averaging 33.6 points per game while only giving up 17. So they are averaging winning by 33.6 minus 17 points per game. I am horrific at math. 16 points a game, right?
Yeah.
They are winning big. And what do I like about Goff? What I like about Goff is it's not all about him, especially not in this offense. So Amon-Ra St. Brown gets shut down. Okay, let's throw it to Jameson Williams.
Sure.
So Jameson Williams gets shut down. Okay, let's throw it to Sam Laporta. Facing an elite secondary where we need to run the ball more.
Yeah.
Okay, hand it to David Montgomery for the smash mouth physical rush yards. David Montgomery, the team you're playing has a very talented interior defensive line. Okay, we need some more speed. Okay, let's give it to Jahmyr Gibbs, who's a little more explosive. Like, this team has ballers everywhere. And I really like that for a playoff run because A, it puts a lot less pressure on Jared Goff, and B, it makes them versatile. It makes it so that the Lions can truly compete with every team in the NFL, and it does not matter what your personnel is. They will match up how they want to match up against you. And keep in mind, it doesn't hurt that Goff is an elite passer accuracy-wise. 73% completed passes this year. He still makes some boneheaded decisions every now and then, but I will say, even when he throws it to the other team, it is damn accurate.
Right in the chest.
It's right in the chest, right? The only worry I have with them, and we've talked about it earlier, is them not getting home field through the NFC and having to go play a cold game outside, right, against the Eagles in Philly, something like that.
Right.
But even if they go to Minnesota, Atlanta, or Arizona, who all are leading their divisions, I think it's crazy that Arizona is leading it. Like
That might be the second
wild.
worst division at this point.
I still think the Lions would go into Minnesota or Atlanta or Arizona and blow the doors off those teams.
I think so too.
I think the only thing I'm concerned about is them somehow not getting home field and playing the Eagles on the road. That's the only one I'm concerned about. Other than that, barring that, I really think the Lions are, I'm not going to say they're a shoo-in to get to the Super Bowl. It's never like that. But this feels like one of the most predictable years in recent memory.
Depends on injury.
Depending on injury as well. So for me, I'm buying Jared Goff because he's got a lot of outs. There isn't a ton of pressure on him. They're the best team. I don't think there's any team in the NFC that's like, oh my God, we have to play them. We have to go through them.
I don't think so either.
The NFC is thinking, oh my God, we got to go through Detroit, right?
Yeah.
Jared Goff, buy or sell. I'm buying big.
If the Niners were what we thought they should be,
Yeah.
that'd be the other question.
Right, but they're not.
They're not, and the injuries are piling up week by week.
And McCaffrey has looked
Pedestrian.
since he has come back, and now Brock Purdy's hurt.
Right. Goff is really interesting. I've always liked Goff, and I liked when the Rams drafted him. Like, no, they shouldn't have traded all that capital, perhaps to take him number 1 overall, but they went for a storyline. You know what I like the most about him, actually, is he's way tougher than you realize. He took a lot of shots at Cal, which was a run and gun offense, and he just stood back there like a statue and got lit up a lot. But it's true. Like, when I watched his YouTube highlights coming out of college, it's like, this guy's getting rocked.
Yeah.
But he always bounced back, and it was the same thing with the Rams when he first got drafted. The offensive line was terrible. Todd Gurley wasn't really there yet, and Jared Goff was getting hit a lot. Remember, actually, he missed the last couple of games due to a really bad concussion his rookie year. He always faces the music. He's a tough kid, even though he looks like, well, he's from Northern California.
It looks like Barbie.
He looks like Ken. But he's a tough as nails kid who kind of fits the Detroit mantra. I don't know if you knew this about Detroit. They kind of fancy themselves as a blue-collar city. Never heard that before. The thing about Jared Goff, though, is everything has to be perfect for him. They need to be on schedule. He has an unreal offensive line. It's the best offensive line in football, and like all the weapons you just talked about, their best weapon is that offensive line and how they maul people and give him time.
Yeah.
He has great weapons around him. We went in depth on that. He plays in a dome, and I'm going to get a little bit deeper into what we just talked about with the schedule. Every road game, so they play at Ford Field, which is a dome.
Yep.
Every road game they've played this year has either been a dome or a warm weather site like Tampa Bay or Arizona, which is basically a dome anyways. He's already played at Lambeau on November 3rd, and you want to be at Lambeau November 3rd as opposed to now. So it may not have been warm, but it wasn't frigid. His first not ideal weather game will be in Chicago for their third to last game of the year, and that'll be nasty. That'll be disgusting.
Yeah.
But the Bears will probably be tanking at that point. So, like, yes, Detroit will be playing for something, but look, it's not going to be...
Possibly.
Possibly. Who knows, right? It's the NFL. Everyone's really good. So I saw this heading into the year. I was like, oh, that works.
The NFL is rigged.
The NFL is not rigged. It's just that sometimes things work out for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's taking advantage of the perfect situations. His weapons are healthy. They lost Aiden Hutchinson, yes, but that's on defense. And look, if they face a team that has a defense that can give him fits, which I watched the Eagles tonight, that D-line is coming together. They need home field advantage first and foremost.
Yep.
And then they need, forget Amon-Ra, forget Jameson Williams. They need that offensive line to stay healthy because that's the key to their success. It's the personality of their head coach, and they just destroy you up front.
I mean, look, like you said, it comes down to can they get home field in the playoffs? If they do,
I think they will.
It's going to be real tough to beat them. And then guess where the Super Bowl is?
Detroit.
It is in.
No. Could you imagine?
It is in a dome.
Oh, it's in Nolans, yeah.
It is in a dome. And if it's going to be in a dome, if the Lions play all of their playoff games in a dome, I would not be shocked if they're the ones holding the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the year.
Host the Bears in a dome, host the Packers in a dome, host the Bills at Ford Field. They have 3 home games coming up.
Yeah.
At Chicago, like I said, at Levi Stadium. So San Francisco in December will be chilly.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not San Francisco. Santa Clara.
Santa Clara.
In December will be chilly. And then they host the Vikings.
Yeah, in the dome.
In Ford Field.
Look, as long as Detroit stays in that dome, I'm buying on Jared Goff. And it's looking like they will stay in the dome if they keep moving like they have been. But that's a wrap for this week's episode of the Cardboard Critics Sports Card Podcast. Hope you buy low, sell high, and turn that profit. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe down below. Just as a little foreshadowing to you guys, this Invest segment will likely become a subscriber-only show in just a few weeks in the future. So if you still want to hear what we have to say, you'll have to be a subscriber to the channel. So until next time, I'm Mr. Hollywood, that's Joe Nasty. We'll see you right back here next week. Alternative investors, be gone.